Jennifer appeared at the center of the room, covered in dirt. Her school uniform torn and stained. The girls screamed and huddled their self together. "Please, please, don't kill us," Ella sobbed. "We're sorry." Hi. Guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Kindly subscribe and turn on the notification so that YouTube will remind you anytime I drop massive story like this. Let's continue with the story. 2 months before her death, Jennifer Okonkwo sat in the back of the mathematics class, carefully copying notes into her worn notebook. Unlike her classmates' fancy school bags and notebooks, Jennifer's school supplies came from the small stationery shop in Mushin, where her father sometimes traded. "Look at her calculator," Ella whispered loudly to Precious, ensuring Jennifer would hear. "It's not even a scientific one. Probably bought it at Balagan Market." Jennifer gripped her pencil tighter, but kept writing. She had earned her place here. Her entrance exam scores had been the highest in Eastern Academy's history, a fact that seemed to irritate her wealthy classmates even more than her second-hand uniform. During lunch breaks, Jennifer would sit alone in the library, studying while eating the jollof rice and plantain her mother packed for her. The other students preferred the cafeteria with its expensive international menu, but Jennifer loved her mother's cooking. It reminded her of home, of the small but warm single room where her family lived. "You don't have to hide in here every day," Mrs. Okeke, the librarian, once told her. "You deserve to enjoy the cafeteria like everyone else." Jennifer had just smiled. "I like it here, Ma. Besides, I need to maintain my scholarship. I can't let my parents down." Her parents had been so proud when she got the scholarship. Her father had saved for months to buy her the required school uniforms, even though it meant delaying repairs on his market stall. Her mother had cried tears of joy, saying, "This education will open doors that were closed to us, Jennifer. You will go far." In class, Jennifer excelled. Her hand would shoot up first whenever teachers asked questions, her assignments were always perfect, and her test scores never dropped below 95%. But her academic success only seemed to fuel the hatred from LRS group. They would pour water on her books, hide her lunchbox, and make loud comments about her cheap shoes. Once, BC had even tried to trip her on the stairs, but Jennifer endured it all silently, focusing on her studies and her dream of becoming a doctor. The only person who showed her any kindness was Amanda, the daughter of the school's chaplain who sometimes shared her lunch break in the library. But after LS Group cornered Amanda and threatened to make her life miserable if she kept talking to the charity case, even that small friendship faded. The day before everything changed, Jennifer had received news that she'd been selected to represent Eastern Academy at the National Science Competition. The announcement had been made during morning assembly, and she could feel LS Group glaring at her as she walked up to receive the nomination letter. "This is what the Eastern Academy represents," the principal had said proudly, "excellence regardless of background." Later that day, she found her science project destroyed in the laboratory. On the remains was a note, "Know your place." That evening, as she helped her mother prepare egusi soup for dinner, Jennifer had considered telling her parents about the bullying, but seeing how tired her father looked after a long day at the market, how her mother's hands were rough from cleaning houses, she couldn't bring herself to worry them more. "How was school today?" her mother had asked. "Fine, Mama, everything is fine." The next day, Ella and her friends invited Jennifer to study with them after school. It was the first time they'd ever been nice to her. She had been suspicious, but also hopeful maybe winning the science competition had finally made them accept her. That hope died in the woods behind the school as they pushed her into the shallow grave they'd prepared, laughing as they piled dirt on top of her screaming mouth. The dirt filled her mouth as she screamed. Jennifer had to lick a claw desperately at the earth pressing down on her face, but the weight was too much. Above ground, she could hear their laughter fading away as her lungs burned for air. They had really done it. The mean gays from Eastern Academy had actually buried her alive. That would teach the common straight rat to know her place was the last thing Jennifer had before everything went black. That night, Jennifer didn't come home. Her mother, Mrs. Okonkwo, paced their small room continuously. Something is wrong, she kept saying, clutching her phone. Jennifer always calls if she's going to be late. Mr. Okonkwo had already walked to the school twice, finding only locked gates and a sleeping security guard. Let's call the police, Mrs. Okonkwo said, her hands shaking as she dialed. The police officer's response was casual. Madam, calm down. These rich school children, they sometimes go to their friends' houses without telling their parents. Call back tomorrow if she hasn't returned. But Jennifer's parents knew better. Their daughter never went anywhere without permission. The next morning, they were at Eastern Academy as soon as the gates opened. We haven't seen Jennifer since yesterday afternoon, the principal said, looking uncomfortable. According to her classmates, she left after classes ended. Which classmates? Mr. Okonkwo demanded. Who saw her last? Ella and her friends were called to the office. They sat there in their crisp uniforms, looking concerned. We invited her to study with us, Ella said smoothly. But she declined, said she needed to go home. Mrs. Okonkwo stared at the girls. Something about their perfect posture and rehearsed answer felt wrong. Days turned into weeks. Mr. Okonkwo neglected his market stall to search for his daughter. He put up posters all over Lagos, visited every police station, and begged television stations to feature Jennifer's story. Mrs. Okonkwo stopped going to the houses she cleaned, spending her days praying and crying instead. Their neighbors in Mushin organized such parties, but found nothing. This rich people's school, their neighbor Mama Chidi said, why did you send her there? They don't like poor people's children. Detective Okafor was assigned to the case after local media picked up the story. He sat in the Okonkwo's room, taking notes. Your daughter, he said, did she have any enemies at school? Mrs. Okonkwo wiped her tears. She never complained, but sometimes I saw water stains on her books. She would come home with bruises on her body, Mr. Okonkwo added, said she fell while playing. But how can someone fall every week? The detective interviewed students at Eastern Academy. Most avoided eye contact and gave vague answers. But Amanda, the chaplain's daughter, finally broke down. They were horrible to her, she whispered. Ella and her friends, they called her a bush girl, destroyed her things. But please don't tell them I told you, my father needs this job. Detective Okafor tried to question Ella's group again, but their parents sent expensive lawyers instead. My clients have no information about the missing student, one lawyer said. And we would appreciate you stopping this harassment. 3 weeks after Okonkwo's disappearance, strange things started happening at Eastern Academy. It began with Ella's encounter in the bathroom. Ella Balogun stared at her reflection in the bathroom mirror of Eastern Academy's East Wing. Her perfectly styled braids and neat uniform couldn't hide the dark circles under her eyes. She hadn't slept properly since that night. Get it together, she whispered to herself. She was nobody, just some poor girl from Mushi who didn't belong here. The bathroom lights flickered. Ella froze. A cold draft brushed against her neck, making her shiver despite the warm September morning. In the mirror, she saw a dark figure standing behind her. She spun around. The bathroom was empty. Hello. Her voice echoed off the tiled walls. No response. When she turned back to the mirror, her blood ran cold. Written in what looked like red nail polish across the glass were 2 words. I'm back. Ella's scream echoed through the halls of Eastern Academy. Did you see Ella at lunch? Cynthia whispered to Precious as they walked to chemistry class. She looks terrible. Precious adjusted her school bag on her shoulder. She's being dramatic. We all agreed never to talk about what happened to that scholarship girl. The police ruled it as a runaway case. But what if? Don't. Precious cut her off sharply. Her father was just a small-time trader at Balogun Market. Everyone bought that she ran away from the pressure of not fitting in. End of story. They entered the chemistry class and took their usual seats at the back. On their bench, written in red nail polish, were the words, "You buried me. But the truth won't stay buried." That evening, 5 girls gathered in Ella's family mansion in Banana Island. They were the elite of Eastern Academy. Ella Balogun, Precious Adebayo, Cynthia Ogunlisi, Bisi Oladipo, and Aisha Babangida. Now they sat in fearful silence, their usual confidence shattered. "Someone knows," Bisi said. "Someone knows what we did to Jennifer." "That's impossible," Aisha snapped. But her hands were shaking. "We were the only ones there that night." Ella paced the room. "We have to stay calm. There's no proof. It was just some stupid pranks today." "Pranks?" Cynthia's voice cracked. "The writing, it's her. Somehow, it's her." "She's dead," Precious shouted, then immediately lowered her voice. "We made sure of that." Suddenly, the lights in Ella's room began to flicker. The temperature dropped so suddenly they could see their breath. "No, no, no," Bisi whimpered. The television turned on by itself. Through the white noise, they heard a familiar voice, a voice that had begged them for mercy that night in the woods. Jennifer appeared at the center of the room, covered in dirt, her school uniform torn and stained. The girls screamed and huddled together. "Please," Ella sobbed. "We're sorry." Jennifer's ghost moved closer. "Sorry isn't enough. You buried me alive because I was poor, because I was different, because my father was a market trader while yours owned the whole market." "We'll confess," Cynthia cried. "We'll tell everyone what we did." "Yes," Jennifer's spirit said, her voice echoing unnaturally. "You will." The next morning, Eastern Academy was swarming with police cars and news vans. 5 of the school's most prominent students had walked into the police station at dawn. When the girls confessed, they broke down completely. "We didn't mean to kill her," Ella sobbed at the police station. "We just wanted to scare her, but she struggled so much, and the dirt, we kept throwing it." The police found Jennifer's body exactly where they said it would be. Mrs. Okonkwo collapsed when they brought her daughter's body home. The entire street in Mushin came out for the funeral. Market women closed their stores. The trial was swift. Despite their parents' money and influence, all 5 girls were sentenced to juvenile detention. Their families offered the Okonkwo's millions in compensation. "Keep your money," Mr. Okonkwo said, his voice firm. "Can your millions bring back my daughter? Can they give her the future she dreamed of?" Eastern Academy established the Jennifer Okonkwo Foundation, providing full scholarships to underprivileged students. But more importantly, they implemented strict anti-bullying measures. In juvenile detention, these girls served their sentences. They were haunted not just by Jennifer's ghost, but by the reality of what they had done. Their wealth parents couldn't protect them from the guilt that ate at their souls. 1 week later, Mrs. Okeke, the librarian, was closing up when she saw Jennifer in the library. The ghost was sitting at her usual spot, books spread out before her, a peaceful smile on her face. "Rest well, dear one," Mrs. Okeke whispered. "Justice has been served." Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this.